In the Z-mount ecosystem, the Nikon Z8 came closer to that camera than anything Nikon had built in years. It wasn't the Z9's outright flagship performance. It wasn't the Z6 III's balanced mid-range versatility. It was something rarer, a camera that genuinely worked for an unusually wide range of serious photographers and filmmakers without making meaningful compromises for any of them. That's why the Nikon Z8 II is the most emotionally anticipated camera in Nikon's current lineup. Not the most technically exciting rumor, just the one that the widest cross-section of the Nikon community is waiting for. The question is whether Nikon Z8 II is actually coming. And honestly, the answer is more complicated than the rumor cycle wants you to believe. Let's get into it. Before we talk about what the Z8 II might be, let's establish what the current evidence actually shows, because the gap between what's credible and what's being shared as confirmed in this rumor cycle is unusually wide. Hard confirmed, nothing. No FCC filing, no MIIT registration in China, no supply chain component tracking that points definitively to a Z8 II in active late-stage development. What exists is directional analysis, community expectations, and the logical extrapolation of Nikon's established technology trickle-down pattern. And that pattern, actually, tells us quite a bit. Nikon's X-Speed 7 processor, first introduced in the Z9, subsequently appeared in the Z8, then the ZF, then the Z6 III, then the Z52, then the Z5 II, and most recently the ZER. That's 6 cameras across 2 years, all sharing the same fundamental processing architecture. The Z8 II will almost certainly carry X-Speed 8, the next generation processor that will debut in the Z9 II before trickling down. X-Speed 8 brings meaningfully faster sensor readout, deeper AI inference for autofocus prediction, and improved power efficiency that would directly address the Z8's battery and thermal limitations. On the sensor, community analysis points most credibly toward a 45.7 megapixel stacked architecture, the same resolution class as the original Z8, but with next-generation sensor design improving readout speed significantly. A dramatic resolution jump is unlikely. That space belongs to the Z7 III, which is actually the more overdue camera in Nikon's lineup at nearly 6 years without a successor. The improvements most consistently expected: improved thermal management for sustained 8K recording, battery evolution toward a newer higher capacity cell, X-Speed 8-driven autofocus with 9th generation subject recognition and 3D tracking, and dual CF Express Type B slots. The upgrade professional burst and video shooters have been requesting since the Z8 launched with a hybrid slot configuration. On video, following Nikon's RED integration trajectory, a Z8 II could reasonably offer expanded RAW recording options, drawing on the R3 DNE pipeline already proven in the ZR, though the exact implementation would depend on how Nikon differentiates the Z8 II from the ZR ecosystem. Here's the question this video actually exists to answer for a lot of people. Should you wait for the Z8 II, or should you buy something now? The honest answer requires being upfront about something the rumor cycle consistently glosses over. The Z8 II faces a meaningful probability of not arriving in 2026 at all. Here's why, drawn from the most rigorous current analysis of Nikon's actual product strategy. The Z8 II, sitting uncomfortably close to the Z9 II in the lineup, creates a genuine business problem for Nikon. If the Z8 II launches before the Z9 II and carries a significant portion of the Z9 II's headline features, X-Speed 8, next-generation AF, improved video capabilities. It pulls sales away from the camera. Nikon needs to sell at a higher margin first. That's not rumor. That's how camera manufacturers have always managed their flagship to prosumer timing. The Z9 II itself is running behind schedule, reportedly due to sensor procurement complications and the complexity of integrating RED's cinema technology at the flagship level. If the Z9 II doesn't ship until 2027, the Z8 II is almost certainly a 2027 product too. Meanwhile, the Z7 III, the body Nikon's own refresh cycle analysis suggests is the most overdue camera in the entire Z system at nearly 6 years without a successor. creates no such cannibalization problem. It targets resolution-focused photographers rather than speed and video users. Nikon could announce it without undermining a single other product in the lineup. So, if you're waiting for a Z8 II in 2026 specifically, the honest guidance is to temper that expectation. If you need a camera now, the original Z8 at its current reduced price represents extraordinary value. A 45.7 megapixel stacked sensor, flagship class autofocus, 8K internal recording, and a body that's proven itself through 2 years of professional use. Buying it today and selling it when the Z8 II arrives is a more financially sound path than waiting an indeterminate period. If you can genuinely wait and your current setup meets your needs, wait. The Z8 II will be worth it when it arrives. Let's talk timing and money with the same level of honesty this video has maintained throughout. On timing, the current consensus from the most analytically rigorous Nikon tracking available, drawing on refresh cycle data, competitive pressure mapping, and internal product strategy analysis, places the Z8 II as a low probability 2026 announcement and a more probable 2027 product. The Z9 II, if it receives any official communication in the second half of 2026, is more likely to be a development announcement than a shipping product. The Z8 II would follow the Z9 II by at least several months. Watch for FCC filings under Nikon's camera registration patterns, unusual retailer activity around Z8 pricing, or any official Nikon communication about upcoming flagship ecosystem products. Each of these would be a meaningful signal that the timeline is moving. On pricing, community analysis consistently points toward a launch somewhere between $4,299 and $4,499 in line with the Z8's original price positioning and adjusted modestly upward to reflect X-Speed 8 and next-generation sensor investment. Any figure significantly above $4,500 would create uncomfortable overlap with the Z9 II's positioning. The Z8's current street price has declined significantly from launch. That gap between what the Z8 II will likely cost and what the current Z8 sells for is exactly the calculation every prospective buyer should run before committing to a wait. Final thoughts. The Z8 II isn't the most technically ambitious camera Nikon is working on. That's the Z9 II. It isn't the most overdue camera in the lineup. That's the Z7 III, and it isn't the most strategically urgent launch for Nikon's business right now. That's also the Z9 II, but it might be the most human camera on Nikon's roadmap, the one that the widest range of serious photographers and filmmakers are actually waiting for. Not because it'll be the best at any single thing, because it'll be genuinely excellent at almost everything. One body, one investment, one camera that doesn't force you to choose between your stills career and your video ambitions. That's what one for all means, and it's why this camera generates more genuine emotional investment than almost anything else in the Nikon rumor cycle. It's coming. The timing is uncertain, the year is genuinely unclear, and the roadmap has honest complications in front of it. But when it arrives, the community will have been right to wait. Subscribe so you're here when the real news breaks. Thanks for watching.